Hallo und schön, dass du hier bist. Wenn du wissen willst, wie du als Coach, Berater oder Trainer deine Angebote online verkaufst, ohne aufdringlich oder manipulativ zu wirken, dann bist du hier genau richtig. Ich bin Sonja, ich bin Google Ads Expertin und seit 23 Jahren im Online-Marketing zu Hause und ich habe seitdem für meine Kunden, für ehemalige Arbeitgeber und mich in Summe einen Umsatz von rund 1 Milliarde Euro über das Online-Marketing gemacht. Abonniere meinen Kanal und klick auf Gefällt mir, wenn du deine Coachings und Kurse authentisch und mit mehr Leichtigkeit online verkaufen willst. Und schau dir unbedingt die Links unter diesem Video an, denn die werden dir helfen, 2024 mit deinem Business wahre Berge zu versetzen. Schalte unbedingt jetzt die Untertitel in dem Video an, damit du das komplette Video auch wirklich in deiner Sprache ansehen kannst. Denn ich habe heute einen ganz speziellen Gast, über den ich mich sehr freue. Und dafür werde ich jetzt ins Englische wechseln. So, I have Colin Boyd here today, and he really is the #1 expert when it comes to selling your offers in webinars or in front of an audience in a fun and in a successful way. I can say that because I know it, because Colin is my coach. Colin will give you a few valuable tips that will help you to sell your offers every time you show up online or in a video without feeling pushy. I promise you that these tips alone will help you tremendously, but to be honest, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So you should definitely stay until the end of this video if you want to know how you can get more strategy tips like these and how you can also get free strategy material from my Google Ads course at Finesse on top, which I normally never give away for free. So, hi Colin, nice to have you here.
Hey, it's great to be here, Sonia. Let's help your audience.
Yeah, it's great that it worked out, and especially that you took the time to do it now, because I think it's really early in the morning for you, isn't it?
It's like 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm in California, but no, I saw your message and I was like, hey, let's help your audience, and we're about to go away on vacation, so I wanted to get it in.
Oh, okay, yeah, so great that it worked out. If you don't know Colin, we should definitely change this now, because I met Colin at a point where I had already held a few sales webinars. I always got raving feedback from my attendees and lots of compliments about my expertise and so on. But it was like jinxed. No matter how many webinar attendees I had, I only ever got 2 sales for my courses. So 1,000 attendees, 2 sales. 200 attendees, 2 sales. 500 attendees, 2 sales. I even had a wish list in Excel, so every time I could see how much sales I could make and what I could buy then. For example, 5 sales a sofa, 10 sales a vacation. But guess what? I never bought anything off this list because I always made 2 sales. Das heißt, falls dir diese Situation bekannt vorkommt, tu mir einen Gefallen und schreib Déjà-vu in die Kommentare. Ist mir ganz egal, wie du das schreibst. Oder in den Chat und zeig mir, dass ich tatsächlich mit dieser peinlichen Situation nicht alleine bin. I was exactly at this point that I became aware of Colin through a podcast or something. I took part in Colin's program, Sale from Stage Academy, and suddenly I had already achieved the first 2 sales before I had even officially opened the enrollment for my membership, and many more sales came after that. The cool thing was that I had always felt extremely uncomfortable with selling before. And with Colin's strategies, it suddenly didn't take me any effort any longer because I finally didn't feel like I was talking my audience into something or trying to manipulate them. So Colin, tell us a bit more about yourself. What brought you to where we are today, and what's the secret of your success?
Yeah, thanks, Sonia. So for me, I've been running my coaching business for about 15 years. And I started out as a life coach. I was new to the life coaching industry, obviously was fairly new in that period. And I had these big desires to help people. I was interested in the coaching industry, and I thought, wow, this would be a really great vehicle to share my content, to do coaching and actually make great money doing it. But the problem is I really struggled to get clients, and I had I call it half a client, and a half a client is
Okay.
someone who turns up to every other session and pays you every 3rd session, and it was just wasn't working. And I remember I got a phone call from a friend, and he had a speaking engagement coming up. And this was a live speaking engagement, this specific one. And I said yes to it. I'd never spoken before. I wasn't a professional speaker. I'd spoken at college and school. That was it. And I remember coming into that evening, I was so nervous. I remember just feeling like a complete imposter, like my content's not going to be good enough. People are going to judge me for not being qualified enough, all the things that was coming up in my head. And I went to the presentation and I remember the event organizer came to me and on the evening, and he was like so excited because it was the biggest event they'd ever had. And he tells me, he's like, we've got 137 people live in this room. And in my mind, this is the worst news because it just meant I was going to look silly in front of their biggest audience. And I did my presentation, and at the end I made an offer. And this was before I understood even what an irresistible offer was. But what happened was, out of the 137 people, 125 of them gave me their personal details, and I followed up and then ended up signing a full deck of coaching clients. So I filled my whole coaching business from that one speech.
Great.
And then ended up getting signed for multiple speaking engagements after it. And that was, for me, the first time I realized the power of just one presentation can literally change the trajectory of your business and your life. And that was before webinars and before kind of online events were a thing. And then after that, I learned how to run online events, so webinars and virtual events. And then that enabled me to really start scaling up. So for me, both virtual and live presentations are the ways that I use to generate the conversion of the client. And so that has enabled me to build a multi-7-figure business and coach the biggest names in the world, and including yourself. And it's just been a blessing. It's been a blessing to be able to do it.
Yeah, so great. You brought us a few tips on how to sell without being pushy. So what advice would you give someone who wants to achieve more in this area?
I mean, for me, there's a whole structure and system behind doing powerful presentations. And one of the philosophical ideas is, and you mentioned this before, is that for many people, they feel really uncomfortable selling. And I think the first shift that you need to make is to realize that when you sell or when you make an offer to your audience, you're actually not pushing them to do anything. You're actually just inviting them to commit to themselves and to commit to their own transformation on the next level. And you've got to realize that not everyone is going to say yes. For me, whenever I'm helping a student or building a presentation, my desire is for not everyone to say yes. That I feel like that's not the line I'm drawing. For me, I'm trying to find the right people to say yes. The problem is, and you mentioned, Sonia, is that for many people, they shy away from selling. They shy away from the offer. Because
including me before, yes.
They don't want to come off pushy and salesy and, like high pressure. And I totally get that. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like the methodology and the training that I bring is it feels very authentic. I had the chance to coach Amy Porterfield, and one of her big events that she ran, and she gave me some feedback, and there's actually a video testimonial of this, and her words were, it just felt so authentic. It felt like me. And that for me is the goal. And so one of the ways of doing that is, first of all, just shifting your mindset that selling is opening the door to serving the right audience on the next level. And so when the right audience says yes, when you make an offer and they pay money, because money is just a currency of commitment. It's actually a very clean currency. Most people misunderstand how useful money is, from the sense of money is a clean representation of someone's commitment. No. And when they transact money, they're saying to you, but they're actually saying to themselves, more importantly, I value this. I want to be committed to this on the next level. And so when they buy something from you, they commit to themselves. But this idea of selling is actually opening the doorway to serve the right audience on the next level. So I would say, so first of all, just from a mindset, we can get into some more practical stuff, but I actually think that's quite practical in itself, is that you shift your mindset and you're going to feel very comfortable making an offer, because selling and teaching and speaking is all one system. It's what I call infusion selling, and we can talk about a few tips with that. But for me, it's one system. That's my thoughts.
I know it, and I like it so much.
So what else? What else would you like to discuss in regards to speaking and selling?
Oh, when I started with Sell from Stage Academy, you have one tool. This is called, I think, Tantalizing Tools. It's so great because I use it every time I can. And now all my scripts and so on are full of it. And I think this is what helps me to sell at the moment. I don't use very much advertising budget and so on. But I'm selling my course without even telling them, hey, go there and buy my course, because I just use this tool. So it's so great. It's a great strategy.
Yeah. So one of the, I think, big desires for people is, imagine you're doing a video or a presentation and people start commenting or asking to buy your program before you even get to the offer itself. And that, for me, is the goal for all people working with me, all the members. Yeah. And how that happens is through what I call infusion selling. And so infusion selling is the idea of what most people do is they speak, right? They share teaching or content, and then they move into this awkward selling mode at the end. And there's this real disconnect. It doesn't connect together. And your coolness factor goes from super high to really low. Yeah. And the goal for me in fusion selling is that you speak and you sell at the same time. They actually integrate together. And so how that works is, in the midst of the valuable content that you're sharing, you're also creating this immense desire for your audience to want to get access to the tools, the strategies that you have in your paid programs. And so the idea of infusion selling, in fact, there's 9 strategies in infusion selling. One of them, which you mentioned, is called tantalizing your tools. And so this is a really practical, easy one that anyone can do listening to this video. And so basically what you do, you go into your course or your offering and you pull out either a strategy or a template. It's great to have templates where you essentially mention and visually show the template, and you even teach on the template, but you don't get into the nitty-gritty details. Essentially, you're tantalizing the strategy or tantalizing the template and teaching on it a bit, so people will say, wow, that's really valuable, or that idea sounds really helpful. And then, but they don't have access to it. And what you do is, when you get to your offer, you reveal that specific template is a core part of your offer. And so then they're going to go, oh my gosh, that's the template that Sonia mentioned during the training. So I get that when I actually buy it. So what happens is, in the teaching, it creates like this desire for things. And when they see the offer, there's this direct synergy with it. So the offer doesn't come out of the blue. It feels like one presentation in itself.
Yeah, it's so great. This is so helpful, especially for me, because when at the beginning, when I first heard this, I got a bit obsessed. So I had a table, and everything I did and teach and so on went into this table, and I said, okay, how can I use this strategy with this template, this strategy, and so on.
Yeah,
so true. I had a really big board, and I thought, okay, what am I going to mention in this video?
And what's cool
it's so much fun.
What's cool is it just works. Like, it really works. And I mean, that's just one strategy, right? Yeah. And so what's powerful is, a lot of the time people, I remember this guy, his name's John, he's one of our students, and he was seeing about a 2% conversion rate on his webinars. And once again, he was getting great comments. People were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And he teaches Excel, right? So it's really tactical, practical skill set. And then he shifted his presentation and started using infusion selling. And he still taught value. He still got great comment. Like he said, I didn't get any negative feedback at all, but his conversion rate went from 2% to 14% instantly. Wow. So it was like 5x or whatever, 7x the return on investment. He did 80 grand in his first webinar. And what's cool is he took that webinar and literally just put it straight into Easy Webinar, which I love my students to do, or like some sort of automated webinar. And I spoke to him the other day. He said he did over $1 million in automated webinar sales in the last, just over 12 months. He did over $1 million.
So great. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I should switch my topic from Google Ads to Excel. No, just joke. If I would teach somebody Excel, nobody would want to hear that.
You bring up something interesting, Sonia, because sometimes people feel like, oh, maybe it's my topic. And a lot of the time it's not your topic, because we have students in so many different areas, from photography to pet training to, Google Ads to so many different unique areas. And I think almost every niche can do really well. Sure, there are some niches that, it might be a bit of struggle, but most niches are going to do really well. The problem is actually how you're making your offers and how you're presenting your content. And so this is what I've found, Sonia, is that most people out there, pretty much all the listeners out there, I bet that your course, your coaching is already good enough. So you don't have to question whether you're good at what you do. In fact, you wouldn't be offering it to the world if you didn't at least have some level of confidence and competence in what you're doing. The problem isn't your course. The problem isn't your coaching. The problem is your ability to articulate the value of what you do to your audience. And when you learn how to do that, people start buying. And that means that you're able to serve people, you're able to grow your business and create the life that you truly want.
Yeah, I also remember this quote from, I think, Alex Hormozi. He said, okay, if you have enough value, you can sell nearly everything. So, absolutely. So, I think that's really, really helpful. Wenn dir das weiterhilft, vergiss nicht auf Gefällt mir zu klicken oder das Video auf Facebook zu teilen. Colin, I know you have tons of tips in theory, but unfortunately our time here is quite limited. So if we want more tips from you, where can we get them? I know your free training series will start soon.
Yeah, so we have got a free training series. It's called Selling from Virtual and Live Stages. So if you are a content creator, a coach, an expert, you sell stuff like that in the expert industry, that's what this program is designed for. It's a free training series, and I'm going to reveal the secrets behind building high converting webinars and presentations. And my goal is that you would walk away and feel clear, feel excited, and really confident to be able to build a high converting webinar or presentation or video so that you can get more clients. So that's, for me, is my goal. It's going to be amazing.
So when does it start?
Yeah, so it starts January 29th.
Okay.
Is video one. There will be recordings available for about 10 days. But January 29 is video one, and it's essentially we're going to have 4 trainings over about an 8-day period. So, and I know you've got a link that you can point people to, but yeah, it's completely free, and I think you're going to get a lot out of it.
Ja, thanks. Wenn du daran teilnehmen möchtest an der kostenlosen Trainingsserie, dann findest du den Link dazu auf jeden Fall unter dem Video. Aber du solltest auf jeden Fall hier an dem Video noch dranbleiben gleich, wenn du später noch kostenloses Kursmaterial von @Finesse bekommen möchtest, von meinem Google Ads Online-Kurs, was ich normalerweise so kostenlos nicht rausgeben würde. Das heißt, bleib auf jeden Fall noch dran. Aber ich sag jetzt schon mal, Colin, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, absolutely, Sonia. You're such a valuable individual, bringing such valuable content to your audience.
Thank you so much.
Everyone in your community, just know you're in good hands. Sonia is a beautiful woman, great intention, and really good at what she does. And so I'm excited for you in the future and what you're building.
Thank you so much. Falls die Tipps für dich alle hilfreich waren, abonniere meinen Kanal, teile das Video und nutze die Links unter dem Video auf jeden Fall, um 2024 mit deinem Business so richtig durchzustarten. Natürlich findest du unter dem Video einerseits den Link, wo du dich direkt zu Colins Trainingsserie anmelden kannst, aber du findest auch noch einen anderen Link und der ist fast das Spannendere, denn da erfährst du einerseits alles über Colins Training und zusätzlich bekommst du noch Informationen dazu, wie du einen Teil von @Finesse kostenlos von mir geschenkt bekommst, wenn du dich dazu entscheidest, demnächst mit Colin zusammenzuarbeiten. Das heißt, schau auf jeden Fall mal auf der Seite vorbei. Es lohnt sich und wenn du irgendwelche Fragen hast, insgesamt zu den Themen des Videos oder speziell zu @Finesse, schreib die einfach hier in die Kommentare oder schreib mir einfach eine E-Mail an youtube@sonjagottschalk.de.